Welcome back to Fighters Drinking Coffee. We are your hosts, Michael Sutherland and
Scott Dance.
With a combined 40 years of grappling experience, we are going to try to make you guys' training easier. Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
We did it hard, so you don't have to.
Easier and better.
Easier and better. So today, I was going to save this for Combat Confessions, but I think it would be a good just general topic. So I wanted to, I figure we'll just make this whole episode a Combat Confession, I guess. We'll do Combat Confessions at the beginning here, guys. We're going to keep this listener anonymous, blue belt. Well, and here's the question, and I quote, well, why is it that in the BJJ community, it seems to look down on people who don't compete? Like, it's a genuine question. In my experience in other arts, martial arts, guys, there's never been a distinction of hobbyist, and they still have a sport angle to them. But BJJ definitely seems to have that vibe. My theory is that it bleeds over from the wrestlers that only compete. That's all. That's the question. Let me know what you think. So just to add a little framing for you on this, Scott, this guy does other martial arts as well. So he had done, like, he has a history of doing martial arts, and I'm assuming what he means by the distinction of hobbyists not existing, but they still have a sport angle would be that, you know, the art itself has like a competitive aspect. There is competition involved.
I get it. Yeah.
But you know, people still do it just to do the art. One of the things that he said is in every other discipline, they just call it a practitioner or students. Like, everyone is just called a practitioner or a student of the art, right? Like, which I mean, I think that is a good observation, right? Like, we definitely in jiu-jitsu, that those terms do get like thrown around.
Yeah. There's some smoke.
Yeah.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. He's not wrong.
Yeah. So
it's a valid observation.
Yeah. And so let's talk about like that one, the division, right? Like, there is kind of a separation there, and I don't know, like, just being, I don't know, that derogatory use of the term hobbyist, like, people, there definitely is a group that looks down upon people who do it for fun, I guess, right? And I don't know, maybe sometimes we come off that way. I'm not sure.
I hope not, but yeah,
it's not the intention.
Yeah, it's not the intention.
But yeah, so like, let's you weigh in and then we'll talk.
I guess I like you when I read the question, I was like, yeah, this is actually a really good thread, because there's something to it. And I guess my initial reaction statement or whatever would be to kind of like define the issue. And my take on that is that, one, I think he's right. I think there are people who do that, who look down on hobbyists, so to speak. And I think it comes from taking a couple steps back. I mean, a combination of things, but we've talked about this lots of time. There is like any martial art for that matter, but it's present in jiu-jitsu as well as other arts. There's the hierarchical and status presence, I suppose, of like those just exist, and they're very present and in your face in jiu-jitsu, like probably like other martial arts. Now, as I'm saying this, I'm kind of starting to think about a little bit of like social media too, which kind of like there's this, I think, all derives from like weird ego stuff that kind of just inevitably develops in an environment where there's like eyeballs and exposure, and people are searching for validation to be respected within a hierarchy, within like an environment where it's like, no, like, I'm not just a blue belt, I'm a competitor blue belt.
Yeah.
So like, respect me more.
Yeah, I the social media thing. So like, I responded to him a little bit on that. I was like, I think there's the term validation that you said is good. There's definitely like a desire in jiu-jitsu to be seen.
Yes.
And I think social media, because like a lot of other martial arts, and this might just be my algorithm, so I might be wrong on this, don't necessarily, there's not like that. They're not trying to be a big sport the same way that like jiu-jitsu is trying to be a watched TV sport, like as a greater community. Like jiu-jitsu is trying to be something
popular.
Trying to be popular. Yeah.
This is like high school stuff.
So like the social media aspect of it is really big, and like, hey, what gets views?
Competitions get views.
What else gets views? Like being kind of a dickwad gets you views. Like, so I think a lot of that, I think that like derogatory use of it comes more so from just like what is being shown.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know. It's like not most people aren't fucking shredded to the gills and on roids in the world, but you'll see a shit ton of that on social media because that's what they want to put in front of you. So I think a little bit of it is, or at least the perceived prevalence, like it seems like there's more of like a hatred towards the hobbyist than there really is. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
a little intense, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Like I think
sneering.
I think less people look down upon it than it appears.
Yeah, of course.
And like,
it's not as bad as I would say it's not as bad. I would hope it's not as bad.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. And like, obviously this dude feels like it is. So
he brings up a fair question.
Yeah. So like, I mean, there probably is some other like institutional things to adjust there. But like I think that is one side of it, is we're probably seeing a greater amount of it because that's what sells, right? Like we're trying to push jiu-jitsu competition as the greater jiu-jitsu community because that's what we have to show. Some other martial arts are Olympic sports. We aren't. Like jiu-jitsu isn't an Olympic sport. So like we're trying to create something so that we can be seen, and that might be causing like a slight schism because of the goal of it. Whereas other martial arts, hey, we're already being seen. We're on the international world stage in Olympics. Like we don't have to push this anymore. We're already there. So there might be a little bit of that as well.
I hadn't thought of that. That's actually a pretty, excuse me. That's a pretty keen observation too. Like the entire community is like trying to be popular.
Yeah.
The whole thing, like this, that I hear this and it's kind of there's like a weird popularity contest going on in the realm of jiu-jitsu, which is true. And I actually think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. And like these people are unfortunately just casualties of that war.
Yeah.
For jiu-jitsu wanting to be popular and wanting to be respected. And like you said, on the world stage, it's made some gains. I mean, the UFC's doing BJJ now. Like, so like, yeah.
Well, and that's
pretty big.
They're really making pushes. So outside of for those of you who aren't in the competition circles, they are opening, they're doing the UFC BJJ opens and stuff like which is kind of funny because they shat on ADCC and IBJJF's open tournament system like right after they opened. And now they're doing the same thing because that was like a fighter pay, like, oh, you're having these guys do these things, you're not paying them, and then they go and do it too. So, UFC, but they're also like, they're putting more money into it. They're actually hiring people to help run those. Like they have like a UFC BJJ like operations manager posts up right now where they're like, hey, like we need people who've done jiu-jitsu, have experience at tournaments, have experience like matchmaking, all this kind of stuff. So like they're legit, like
it's a good sign,
investing in this.
Yeah.
So it's working.
It's starting to work. Yeah.
It's working.
Like I said, casualties of war, but it is working, and that ultimately is a good thing. I do think, as someone who's been in this sport for a long time when it was not popular, it is cool to see that it's kind of, it looks like it's kind of breaking through, which is really nice. But back to this dude's question. Yeah, like I mean, even if I can kind of, I guess, drill a little bit more into that like hierarchy, identity, ego, triumvirate of like individual behaviors that leads towards your casual student feeling a little isolated or picked on in the high school popularity contest that is world that we are in. It is I mean, he's right to be like, what is this stuff? Like, why this is silly. And it is silly. I would like to approach this from two perspectives, bro. And obviously just I would say like that thread, this is what I hear. I mean, let's talk about whatever we both think should be talked about. But I think that is in my opinion, like the root of it is like this weird ego thing that everyone in jiu-jitsu is trying so hard to like, well, part of it is because, let's just get into it. I was gonna say the other aspect of this is I want to get to like why I think people do this. And there's like some merit to like people having pride in competing. We should talk about that. There's merit to it, and I'll explain why. And I think it's based on like there being value there. It doesn't undermine hobbyist training, but like I get it. It just needs to be like, it's sort of like, hey, like have some pride, but like be like wear it with a little bit of decorum. Yeah, you know what I mean. You don't need to act like an asshole about it. Like, and we'll come back to that. But on the hierarchy thing and on the ego thing, like I think it's when you go into this sport and you go into a gym. And maybe there is, like we talked on the social media thing, maybe there's some of that too, where it's like you see this like amplified on social media, because that's also just the way social media is one big high school popularity contest by its very nature. Thus the copious amounts of anxiety and mental disorders that people develop from being on social media nonstop. So anyways, we're not going to solve that, but I'm just saying that's inherently part of the social media realm. But nonetheless, walking into a jiu-jitsu gym, it's like the whole thing, the whole experience is like an ego battle for every person. And you know, maybe in any martial art, but like we'll just keep it to what we know, BJJ, and that's what this question's about. But you go in and like wherever like your emotional maturity level is, like it's still going to be tested. Like maybe you're like a pretty like humble person and like that's very good going into this environment. Maybe you're not. And like you're just gonna have to like battle it out with like people who everyone's gonna have that like individual internal ego struggle in a martial arts environment where like you just kind of get like you go in, you get beat up, dude, and like whatever version of yourself you thought existed, like how tough you were or whatever, like it's just gonna be tested. The more you do it, so like everyone has to handle that learning process in the martial arts room, which is a good thing. But the other side of that is like you'll literally observe how people handle that all around you all the time. And most people handle it very well, in my opinion. Like we've, community stuff, we talk about lots of times. Like most people handle this pretty well. And there's gonna be some weirdos who kind of like flaunt their identity. And that's, in my opinion, like exposure into like their mind. It's sort of like that when someone does what this guy's talking about, cool move, dude. Toe.
Just trying to make sure my screen stays on.
That was pretty sweet. When someone does that, when they try to like status flex, I'm a competitor. It's like a cry for validation. So it's like, I would just tell this guy, like if people are doing that, that's their problem. Try not to let it phase you. Yeah. I see that stuff all the time. All the time. So he is like, there's something to it. It's, I don't know. I've been competing for a long time. I hope that I don't do this stuff. I just say all that to say, like, I mean, if I could talk to the dude observing this, like, just ignore these goofballs, and to the people doing it, like, hey, you're
the
cool.
Problem.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, just like, I don't know, maybe I just need to be like, hey, you're cool. You're a competitor. That's cool, man. Like, so, like, be cool, and like, part of being cool is not trying to make other people feel like they're not cool.
Yeah, the cool people don't tell people they're cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like. You
don't have to. Just be cool.
Yeah, it's almost cooler not to be popular.
Yeah, right? Like if high school popularity, it's like act like you don't care.
Yeah.
Why does everyone like Matthew McConaughey so much? He's maybe the top 5 coolest guys in the world.
Yeah,
he's like real laid back, bro. He just exudes cool, and he's real like I've never met him, but I'm sure he's a really nice guy to talk to, man. I don't know. He seems like
a whole lot cooler if you did.
Yeah, like like just do it, and like don't like try to like push your coolness on other people as like an expression, a way of trying to feel more cool.
Yeah, like that's a good point too. Is like the people, if someone is looking down upon you because you do this sport for fun, it's probably their insecurities.
That's what it is,
and that's that's
silly.
They're projecting their insecurity on you because they
are insecure themselves.
Yeah. But also part of that is everyone does this for different reasons.
That's true.
And so like there's people that competition is why they do it. Like that's how they understand. Sometimes it's in, the part he said about the wrestling thing, right? Like
I don't think it's fair to blame wrestling. I don't know enough about wrestling. I don't know enough about wrestling to even weigh in on that.
But like the identity of wrestling is like this. Competition is a big part of the sport.
I
people don't do that for fun for the most part.
I don't know anyone who's ever done it. Well, I mean, like I've
people
done it for
do.
Fun. Sure. But you're right. Like it just seems like the whole reason to wrestle is to do it as a sport.
Yeah.
It's like. Yeah, maybe some people out there, and like you certainly could do this, but there are probably people out there who've just done it for exercise because it's phenomenal exercise. But you're right; it's like it's built for competing.
Yeah, and like
it seems that way.
They might shift to it, but a lot of people that pick up wrestling start competing in wrestling. It's just it is ingrained in how you practice it, like all of that. It's just, and so some of that ideology does exist in people that come to jiu-jitsu because they're like, well, if I'm going to do this,
I'm going to go compete.
And there might be a little bit of bleed over because, especially now, right? Like people don't understand that people can have different values and be like, hey, like, well, I do it for competition. Why don't you? And so.
Yeah, force their worldview on someone.
And like, and I can also see, because like we both do a thing where we recommend competing as like, hey, I recommend you do this because it will make you better at jiu-jitsu. But I don't think someone's a lesser person. Hell, there's people that never compete that whoop ass.
Yeah, that's great. That's right.
And like they're still great. You
Nothing
don't
wrong
have
with
to go. Like you don't have to go out and compete. I will try to encourage you to compete. But like I don't think I don't think they're lesser,
of course,
because they do it,
of course,
or they don't do it. I don't think someone's better because they compete. I think it's cool, but that's just because I like to compete. But I don't think someone not doing it is a problem.
I think this is a good way to segue maybe over. We can weave back and forth on the two, like the internal ego struggle that causes these insecurity exposure instances that elicits the comment. But what I wanted to say about competing, why I get, and this would be like back to what I was saying a second ago about like someone who does compete, and if they're doing some of this, like sneering at other people who aren't, I would tell them not to do that. It's like that. Nonetheless, coming back to the point, like the reason why we espouse competing and compete ourselves is because I, in my opinion, I think it's one of the best ways to get the most out of the martial art. And to your point, like when you see someone who's really good on the mat, I encourage these guys nonstop. It's because I, in my opinion, like I think it's the best route to get to gain the most value out of this experience. And I think it's like where there's potential, you can go maximize your potential by competing. I think it's, and for people who have the talent and the ability and the dedication and the discipline in the training room who are really, really badass, it's like, hey man, like just so you know, like you could get a little bit more out of this if you want it. If you want, I'm going to make you do it. But there's potential to be gained from your talents and your abilities that you should really think about expressing that in like a higher stakes environment where you might get even better. You will get even better. So yes, like that's I think and by the way, like we talk about this nonstop, and I hope we talk about it in a mature way. I think we do, but
we try. We'll go on the record and say we don't think.
Yeah, we don't look down on hobbyists.
Yeah, we don't look down on people who.
We both
this,
also coach
hobbyists.
And appreciate and have been around hobbyists. Like so, we like have like I'd like to think a pretty.
I've got my ass kicked by people who don't compete plenty of times.
Yeah, it's fine. And that's cool. Like no big deal, man. Like it's like we appreciate and like we want like look, the competitors need good training environments. And you want like. If you can go to a training environment where literally everyone competes, like that's great, but like that's not most places. So you need good hardworking hobbyist people, we'll use that label, to be present in the room to like make everyone better. So it's like that. It's kind of like, it's a little like self-defeating to like be rude to hobbyists if you're a competitor, to be like, why would you want to make that person feel isolated and small and not valued when like, yo, dude, like you need good training partners. If you should be appreciative of whatever you get.
Especially if these dudes are willing to,
spend their Saturdays, their mornings, their nights, their weekends.
They're showing
with you on
up,
the mats.
They're showing up. They're willing to bang. They're willing to do some rounds with you. Like, who gives a shit whether they compete? Like,
I agree.
Ultimately, like they're doing the same training you are.
That's right.
They're showing up. They're giving you the work. Like, it really doesn't matter whether they also go and try to get a medal on that same Saturday that you do. They're giving you more than you're giving them at that point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they're really providing you a service as the competitor that, like, who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit is the answer.
You don't need to go, like, if you only want to be surrounded by competitors, go be surrounded by competitors. That's fine. Like, there's gyms that do that, but it's sometimes you need those other guys.
You always need those other guys. And so I think you said something that was really valid, like really useful too earlier about like people have different values and they train for different reasons. And what I would tell the egotistical competitor who's kind of like struggling with their maturity journey to like learn basic human interaction skills to not make someone feel small and lesser than, would be like, number one, I guess I get the pride and like, I get where the ego would come from that. I don't think it's the most mature way to handle it. I get the ego because like you do get like more value, in my opinion. We just steelman the position a little bit. Like I get that there's a little more grit. There's a little more like testing yourself publicly. Like, okay, but like just be mature about it. Like wear it with pride. And you should, it's an individual thing. What we do is individual. That's what I think what I was hearing from what you were saying about people's value systems. Like what you train because you want to be a good competitor, right? And for all the reasons you just said, like the resources of like your friends who are also training partners, those are two important things to talk about, who may be hobbyists to help you do that. Like, why would you alienate that person? Number one, but like number two, like you said, like they're just playing a different game than you. And like you should care about your game and what that means to you and not how it's like a weird, like, comparison thing that I think that's like, it's an insecurity thing that we talked about. We labeled it, but like, why compare yourself to that person and like you want to make them feel small? I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Well, and
don't do it
on like, jiu-jitsu is unique compared to some of these other martial arts in the aspect that the grading and hierarchy is purely based a lot, in most gyms is based on that person's struggle and journey with themselves, right?
That's
like,
right.
It's more about that person becoming the best jujitsu practitioner that they can become.
Correct.
And so, your journey as a competitor is going to be vastly different than this person's.
Yeah.
And so, than a person who is a hobbyist, someone who's doing this for enjoyment or as, maybe they're doing it because doing this thing it's difficult for them to go in every day and do this. It's every practice is hard. And them showing up and doing that
that's their competition.
That's competition their challenge for them.
That's their challenge.
That's a challenging thing for them to do. And if they can do that consistently for 10 years, awesome.
Give them a black belt.
That might as well, that's their world championship.
That's right.
Whereas someone else were like, they might have competed in other sports their whole life, or they're just naturally gifted and they can almost just go out there and just fight it out, and showing up to practice isn't hard for them.
Yep.
Right? Like, if showing up to practice is already hard, why would you put that additional stress on yourself to show up, to have to like go to this other thing in another place? You're not like, so, that's something that you have to be cognizant of as the person on the competitive side. Also, let your coach be the one that tries to get people to compete. I understand like there's some blurring of lines because of the hierarchy, right? Like a purple belt might be like, yo, you should really try it out sometime. But, you know, like let the coach be the coach. Yeah. There's a different, you know.
Well, I would say like if someone doing that's more encouraging rather than someone saying like, well, you know, like you're just a hobbyist. I'm a competitor. Like that's different. People can detect when like someone's trying to encourage someone versus when they're trying to cut them down.
Yeah.
And, but point taken. Yeah. I get what you're saying. It's an individual thing. And like you said, people are playing different games for different reasons, and that's fine. And that's, yeah. So like, just don't be a weird bully.
Yeah.
You know,
there's enough like,
there's enough bullies in life already. You don't need to become one yourself. Maybe you got into this because you were bullied and you're just, again, exposing your emotional journey.
Yeah, this is my chance. I think there might also be kind of in a similar vein there. I think there's also a aspect of this where like jiu-jitsu it used to be a fucking weird thing, right? Like used to be a weirdo if you did jiu-jitsu. Like weirdos did jiu-jitsu before. And now
they still do.
And they still do.
Topic for another conversation.
That is definitely an episode in and of itself.
A fun topic.
But like cool people didn't do jiu-jitsu. Well, like they did, but like that wasn't like now jiu-jitsu is kind of
it wasn't popular.
Yeah, it's now a popular and cool thing to do. And that also like we said, you know, people doing it for validation. Like they're not doing it and want validation. They're doing it because like this is a cool thing to do. Validate me. And so there's also a little bit of that, you know, back to reasons people do this is there might be people that do it. It doesn't matter whether or not they're good at competing. This is just they might just compete to say they're a competitor, right?
100%.
Like that also gets created. So that is their identity within jiu-jitsu, not like, oh, like I show up, I train, I'm nasty at this, I also compete. It's like, no, like I'm a competitor. That's who
Status.
I am.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that they are. And so for them, like that is their, you know, if that becomes their whole entire identity, well, how do I use this to be cooler than this person?
Yeah.
Right. You know, because like the reason they're doing this is for status versus like, you know,
self-development.
Yeah. Like the reason that we do it, right? Like we talked about on the Y episode, like we want to be the best, you want to be the best version of yourself.
That's right.
I want to be the best version of myself. Like it's not about being outside of like when I'm competing I want to be better than that person.
You want to win.
But I don't need to be better than anybody. Like I'm not a better person because I compete.
That's
right. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
I'm not better than somebody else as a human being because I compete.
Right.
You know, like that's just,
it's like you said,
it's a silly projection.
It is. It's exposing the ego and like the insecurity quite a bit. And it's not like that person's clearly struggling to attain coolness, I guess, popularity, status. And for whatever reason, they feel the need to like suppress someone else's status as a result. Which is not cool.
Yeah.
That ain't cool. Don't you want to be cool? I think we covered it, but it's if we could just, the call to action perhaps for everyone is like, just like stick to your journey. Like you're going to meet goofballs in life. It's going to happen who do this. And I bet you'll meet goofballs doing that in other weird hierarchies and ecosystems too. And it's just like running into a knucklehead and you're like, yeah, all right, man. All right, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You are very cool.
Now,
that's what that person really wants.
Yes. Now, to maybe put a little twist on this.
Ooh. Twist it up, Mike.
To maybe, you know, like, I think there's also a possibility, because I know, you know, I know this person. there's also a possibility that it's the way that they're in. What he's saying is, I think there is an issue with this. It does exist. I don't think it's as big of an issue as it might seem. You know, like we said, it's being.
Yeah, I don't think it's grandiose. I've seen it. I don't think it's a huge. I mean, in the world that I'm involved in, I don't think it's a massive issue. But
yeah, but it definitely exists.
But there's something to it. Oh yeah.
It definitely exists.
That's why we talked about it for about 40 minutes.
just to throw a little wrench or like, maybe twist this a little bit because I know he listens, so maybe I'm talking directly to him. Maybe the reason, or maybe a reason that someone might take it as a derogatory term is maybe they've had that taste of competition. They actually want to do it, but maybe they don't necessarily enjoy it completely, right? Like competing in and of itself isn't something that like it's not like they don't like immediately want to do it.
They're
Like,
not comfortable with
it's not like it is an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah. Oh, it's uncomfortable.
And
I'm
it's
uncomfortable
super
every time I do
stressful
it.
and like whatever. But they also kind of feel like they want to, like there's a little
There's
bit
an
of
angst there. Is what you're saying.
when they hear the term hobbyist,
they feel jabbed.
It feels a little jabbed because they're like, no, like, I've done it, or I kind of do want to compete. And
this is an interesting twist, Mike.
And so like I think they're also from, to flip it, while I don't think that it is a non-existent thing, because absolutely people use the term try as a way to try to like attack other people, but maybe on an individual level, if you are taking offense to it, when it's not intentionally being used that way.
Okay.
Right?
I'm with it so far.
Yeah.
Got a little thought exercise here.
Yeah. I mean,
this is good.
I'm tossing
Bro,
it out
this is
there.
good because I think you're onto something here, and I already think I have a response to it.
Yeah. And so like maybe you want to compete.
That's where
you might not necessarily be ready. Like at this very moment. And so like right now you're like, I'm not going to compete. I'm not going to compete coming up, but like, you want to do it and you got a taste for it and you like it, but you kind of don't like that. You kind of don't like that you like it,
Oh, yeah. You don't want to lose. You're a little nervous. You're uncomfortable.
Yeah. And like, maybe you're a little unsure of yourself. Maybe, real quick, guys, if you're enjoying the show, pop over to our website, www.fdcpodcast.com. We've got weekly blog posts that expand on all the show topics. There's a newsletter as well. You can sign up for all of that for free. And if you're really enjoying the show, show us some support. Click that coffee button or the donate tab. Like, subscribe, review. Now back to the show. So maybe you competed at the belt level below, and now you're looking at competing at the next rank up, right? And you're like, oh, that's a little daunting, bro. Because I mean, it is. That's fucking scary.
I get it.
And maybe that's
okay. So I like
a little
this. I like this. So we're flipping around the unmet potential. So what you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, is like flipping this around a little bit. Like if the person's offended or feels the jab, that could be an exposure of like, hey, maybe there's a little bit of unmet potential flipping it around on that person, that like there's an interest in doing it, but like perhaps a barrier to that guy or gal wanting to do it because, and thus, like you said, the reaction to it is because like, no, I'm not just a hobbyist.
Yeah.
But I haven't been competing. Yeah, there's some angst there. I mean, I know people like this. This is valid. I've observed this too, where perhaps that person feels that slight because they know they could do it.
Oh, yeah.
They know they could do it, and they might do well if they went down that path, but they're perhaps choosing not to. And there's an angst there. I'm going to call it unmet potential. I don't know what to call it. Whatever your choice is, whether you want to do it or not, or you want to do it a little bit, like it's no big deal. Own it. Like, you want to do it, it's no problem. Like for that person, like, don't feel angst. Like just own your decision. But at the same time, the call to adventure, like if you feel it's in your soul somewhere, like you should give it a try. We've talked about this a lot of times, dudes. Win, lose, draw, it doesn't matter. Like go test yourself. If there's something in you that's calling you to do it, but like you're struggling with it, like maybe give it a try. Because it's speaking to you in some capacity. And I mean, do you want to live your life with what ifs? Or do you want to go give it a try? I think you should go give it a try. That's, we are on the record having talked about.
We can, no one
will question our, yeah. But that's an interesting observation too. I'm actually glad you brought that up. Maybe there's a little bit of a challenge that person hears and they're like, fuck that, man.
They're like, fuck you, bro.
You know
I
what?
could totally compete.
I'm offended, but like, maybe you're right. I mean, we don't know how this person or other people have been confronted with this message, if you want to call it
Yeah,
that.
like I don't know. I don't
Maybe
know,
it wasn't like maybe they're feeling it and they weren't like picked on. Now we're kind of going into the saying like the competitor was picking on the hobbyist. Maybe the hobbyist wasn't picked on. The hobbyist was just like felt this.
they're hearing it or they're feeling. Yeah, no one's directly.
Well, why
isn't
anyone giving me the respect?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, maybe you should go strap on your armor and go out there and try it, man. Like you could do it. You can do it too. Every person who competed started off in that position of not being a competitor.
It's true.
Like every one of them just started competing.
Yeah, no one's first day was at a competition. Well, most.
Yeah,
I think I feel pretty good about saying that.
I think that's probably at least 99.9% accurate, bro. Yeah,
it's enough of a rule to have an exception.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And to those guys, perhaps it's like, hey, like give yourself a break. No one expects you to be perfect when you go and compete for the first, or if it's been a couple years, like just go give it a try. People are going to accept you too for who you are, no matter what happens. Like your friends, your family, the people who care about you, it's like they're still going to care about you, win, lose, or draw. Like just get over it and let's go try. Don't be afraid to lose.
Yeah. I mean, I know the reason I brought that up is because I know that like if I had some catastrophic injury where I couldn't compete again, I would probably feel this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You know, like the
watching
FOMO.
other people. Yeah, exactly.
FOMO.
Be FOMO about like, it'd be like, oh man, well back in my day, I used to be able to do that too.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So like I know, like
Facing
I know
some
I would
what
feel
ifs.
that way.
Yeah,
yeah.
Life is short. We can't predict what's going to happen. Like you don't know if like some catastrophic injury is going to come in your life. So like live it up, man. Like go. If you feel it in some capacity, some like challenge and it is a challenge. It's a challenge to go compete and to try to win and to face losses and to like overcome that and try again. Like that's a challenge, man. It's like, that's why we ask people to do this. That's why we encourage people to do this. Cause like we like, hey, it's been good for us. Like we think it'll be good for you too. We're on the record as to the value, the life lessons you can get from it. And if it's in you and you feel it, like give it a try. Don't, like how nice would it be to go to that competitor after a couple tournaments and be like, guess what? I'm a competitor too. Like if that guy was picking on you, be like, look at that. Now what are you going to say?
Have you seen my medals?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like people will respect that. People respect, like, I think people respect folks who are willing to kind of put their neck on the line.
Yeah.
And go test themselves and like win, lose, or draw, kind of own themselves, own their identity, hold their head up, and not be fazed by this type of stuff.
I actually think that's probably a good point too. If someone is picking on you for not competing, just fucking be like, yeah, dude, I don't compete, but like, I just don't want to. Just tell them that.
End of story.
They'll probably,
They might
honestly,
be like, all right,
they might
laugh and say, yeah, good call.
They might respect that.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
would respect that.
Yeah. Be like, I have no desire to do it.
I'm good with what I'm doing. I'm having a great time.
But if you like wish-wash back and forth, they, like if you're just like, oh, well, like I could, but like maybe I won't, or maybe I will, like they might have, that creates a different thing. And like, they might still keep picking on you. Not that they should. But they might, just because like,
well, how about this, man? Like,
be certain of yourself, right? Like,
right. And
that person who is picking on someone because they're an insecure asshole,
yes,
is more likely to respect you or leave you. This is now just an anti-bullying.
Now we're talking about high school bullying again. It's a high school popularity contest.
Like that person's, if you just fucking own your shit and tell them to their face, like, I just don't want to, and I'm not going to ever, they're more likely to at least leave you alone. They might still think the way they do about you, but like,
what you're saying is bullies will smell weakness.
Yeah.
And if you're wishy-washy, and man,
they're gonna think they can bully you into doing it, right? Like,
or just have fun with you because like they can tell you're uncertain. Yeah, that's an interesting call out too, man. I mean, and I'll tell you, like, I mean, the amount of like, you see this a fair amount as a coach. Like I get people all the time for years who've told me like, I want to do it, I don't want to do it, I want to do it, I think I want to compete, I want to do this, like, and part of the job, have the conversation, no problem. You encourage them where they can, and some people just never they have a failure to launch. They just never pull it off because they just whatever. There's always a reason to not do it, and you still treat them kindly and diplomatically encourage them where you can, but like at a certain point, even I can tell when someone's like wishy-washy. I'm like, I don't think this guy or gal knows what they want. It's no problem. I'm not going to make them. And what my attitude towards that as it relates to like training and coaching is like, I'll always invite people to like take that step, but at a certain point, like they have to make you can't make that decision for them. They have to decide if they're going to do it. It's kind of a red flag to watch someone be like consistently wishy-washy. You gotta look out for people like that.
Yeah.
I said, it's just, whatever. But that said, like, you can't force that decision on someone. You kind of just like, hey, there will always be an environment for you to like come and like push yourself. But, like as someone who's trained with and coached lots of competitors, and as I've said, like had these conversations, I have people come and ask if they can come train with the competitors sometimes, like our early morning sessions. And I have to use my judgment to discern between someone who's serious and wants to, in my opinion, kind of maintain like with those sessions. I'm fairly judicious about who I will include in that, because there's a certain cultural standard of like work ethic and discipline and like shared goals. And by the way, in those sessions, I have lots of people who don't compete too, which is totally fine, but they show up. They exude the same values as the competitors, and therefore they're a great person to have. That's a call out to good hobbyists. Like lots of good hobbyists who help me with my competitors and train with the competitors, and I treat them like competitors because they do that, but they never want to compete. Maybe they want to compete every couple of years, and they're welcome, and I love them, and I want them there, and they know who they are. And I've had like, and by the way, that's a moment of honesty too, because those guys will tell you, they'll be like, yeah, man, like I compete every couple of years, but like I love being around it. I want to be with you. I want to help you guys. I want to support you guys. I'm like, dude, you're in. I love you. To contrast that with the person who's like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm like, hey, look, make your decision. What I usually tell those people, I try to like study behavior and patterns and like commitment and say, let's see you do some regular stuff in class. Like show me that you actually want to be a part of this culture. And then I may invite you to come do this. But if you're not, and by the way, that's also why I pick like 7 a.m. to do these things. Because I'm like, let's just see if you'll show up at 7 a.m.
Yeah, there's a level of...
I'll often let these guys show up and train, because like these guys will still train. It's not bad to have them on the mat. It's just like the barrier to entry is intentional. See, like, can you stomach a Saturday 7 a.m. for like 6 months? And then
do you really want it?
Yeah. Do you really want it? That's all.
Yeah.
Because the wishy-washy people, like they'll drain on you, man. Because they'll expect commitment from you that they're not willing to show. So and again, there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to discern that and say, hey, look, you know what? Come anytime you want. I'm not expecting you to show up.
Yeah.
Because
show up,
like I said, I have guys who've done that, and like and when they show up, it's still great to have them in the room. Still valuable. Thus the 7 a.m.s where I'm like, hey, you just want to. I don't. When the time comes, and you're ready to kind of like it's like when the student is ready, the master will present himself, sort of thing. Like when the time comes and you're ready to like, no more excuses. Let's do this. Like the environment already exists, but I prefer to have that choice kind of like made by the other person. Just kind of set the barriers to entry such that if they can do it, if they can meet it, they'll just show up, and then they'll tell us when they're ready. Yeah, and you know what I mean.
I think that's a good call out too. Like,
but I have to. This is something I take seriously too. Just if I can finish on this, it's like it's that like I in those training environments with guys and gals who like sacrifice time and effort and also money to go travel and compete for this stuff. Like these guys, like, I want them to feel appreciated. I want them to feel like their work and their sacrifice is honored insofar as maintaining a culture and standard that like puts them in a position like they deserve to be around people in those training scenarios that push them. Rather than someone who's kind of like giving off a little too casual of a vibe. And I just say that to say that's like for like very like one-off, like that's for like certain training environments. Is not to say that those other folks who are kind of wishy-washy aren't welcome in an academy. They certainly absolutely are. But that's my frame of mind when it comes to like, hey, like this one practice is for the guys who are willing to make certain sacrifices. If you can show that you're willing to do that, we would like to have you for sure. In the meantime, if you're not, no big deal. There's an entire training academy, entire curriculum, entire class schedule. Come when you want, man. Yeah. Just like make your mind up.
Yeah, decide what path you want to take.
Yeah,
right?
You don't need to like
build your path.
Build your own adventure. There's some like smoke. There's some gears turning. Maybe it's causing smoke with the wishy-washiness, but like, figure that out. I can't figure that out for you. Make that decision, and we'll be here working. It's a life sentence is what I call it.
Yeah.
Like we're in it for life. So like
we'll be there no matter
someone
what.
will be there doing the work. And when you're ready, we'll be there. Come show up. But if you're not, spare me the,
Yeah, we don't need to filter excuses.
I've encouraged, I can tell you stories about people that who I've gone through this with. And it's aggressive to say it's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of that, in your head where you're like, hey man, I can't make this decision for you. Let's not just talk about it nonstop. It's no big deal. And maybe some of that is like, they're coming to me for validation. Be like, can you treat me like a competitor? It would feel really nice if you did.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need that validation from me. Like that goes back to the individual thing.
Yeah.
It's as an individual, like it's me, like you, in my opinion, that person going through that struggle needs to feel that win themselves. Me saying, I respect you like a competitor, like big deal. Who cares what I think in that regard? Some people maybe do. And I get that. I get that. I get that also from the position that I'm in too, as like a black belt head coach.
Yeah, they want their coach's validation.
And like, I would tell you, like, I accept you for no matter what you are and what you're doing. If you're in here and you're a good person, you're training, you're upholding basic cultural standards, I already like you.
Yeah.
I already like you. And I value you. And I don't need you to be a competitor. Like I might, if you want to be a competitor, I might treat you a little differently insofar as like what I expect of you. That's why I said what I said. I kind of will a little bit, but doesn't mean I like you less. Doesn't mean I don't think that what you're doing has less value. Like
I don't think you're a lesser person.
100%.
You don't show up to, you don't do competitions.
I don't give a shit. Like some people are just like, hey, bro. And by the way, there are tons of competitors who don't want to show up at 7 a.m. and they'll still be good competitors and they'll still treat them like competitors. They don't want to come at 7 a.m. No big deal. They're doing work elsewhere on their own time and their own schedule, and that's fine as well. Hey, if that works for you, let's go win some competitions. No big deal. Yeah, it's not a big deal.
You might tell that person, "Hey, dude,
if it works for you,
maybe we need to do a few extra sessions.
Maybe we do.
Depending on their performance stuff, right?
Sure.
You might be like, "Hey, dude, I need you to do more."
That I've had that conversation, and you are right. Yeah. But then there are some people who are it's like, hey, look at this is working for you.
Yeah, don't
get your sleep on Saturday.
About it.
Hey, if you're winning and you're doing well as a competitor, like I mean, it's just a different style of coaching, as you know. To that person, like, look, if Monday through Friday, 5, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., like is getting you ready and you're winning and you're doing well, like, man, like, let's not mess with the process. Let's keep this going. But like you said, like, hey, I still have this practice. If you ever feel like waking up early on a Saturday, would love to have you. I think you'd bring a lot of value to the room. It would be valuable for you too. Like, please come. But at the same time, like I said, like there's no one way to do all this stuff. It's highly individualized. We accept you. We love you. We want you there. And as a guy in this position, like, I appreciate that you respect my opinion on these things. And I'm sure you've been through this too. You had a celebrity moment at the gym this morning. We were training. We had a dude come up and thank you for a movie you taught him. That's cool. Like people respect our opinions and that's nice. There's the status that we have that comes from that too, which is, that's pretty cool. Great. 2 thumbs up. Happy to provide that feedback. And I think our feedback is really important. I think people appreciate it and I'm happy to do it. But I'll caveat that with like, my opinion's not the biggest deal in the world too.
Well, especially,
you know what I mean?
Especially outside of, hey dude, you pay us to be your jiu-jitsu coach. Outside of our like opinions on you and your jiu-jitsu, you really shouldn't care that much about what we think. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Don't like, like again, like it's sort of like, I'm happy to, if I make a good statement to someone that makes their day better, makes them feel better about themselves, I love it. I want to do that. But if you need my statement to give you that feeling, take a step back.
Yeah.
Because maybe there's something wrong here. Because I don't want to be in that position.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a position where it's like you rely on me for that feeling because I don't think that's good for you as a person.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That might be something. Maybe we need to have John get into that one. We need to have. We should have John on once a month.
He
needs to be on speed dial.
We should do a segment with him, man. Because but we are talking about like psychological need for validation and people You know, like there's something to this.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like if you're in like a coaching position, like your words matter to people. The way you make people feel, it makes you should. This is why we go back to like we talked about culture last time. You should be very welcoming and like just have the right frame of mind to like make everyone feel like they're wanted and they're valued and that their work is recognized. And in whatever capacity, whatever path, like you've mentioned earlier, they choose. Like there's going to be a quest for that person no matter what. And like you just want to see them like succeed in whatever realm they feel motivated to push themselves in. And that's the job.
Oh, yeah.
It's not to like demean or make someone feel small because they're not competing, blah, blah, blah. Like, don't do that.
And on like...
And I don't think most coaches do that.
No. And on a note with that, there might be some, but...
I could think of a few who probably do, but like, yeah.
They shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
On a note with that, and I was thinking about this while you were talking about like, you know, the practices and stuff like that. Like, I bet you if you go to any college sports program, professional sports program, and you talk to those, like the stars of the team, I bet you some of their, like the people that they appreciate the most are the guys on the practice squad, the scout team, like
who have made them better,
who are
day in, day out.
They're the guys that show up and don't do the competition. They don't do that part. They show up and they just practice, which honestly is hard as shit because as someone who,
but the reward is competing, man. The hardest part is the fucking grind.
The grind is the hard part. The guys that show up in like, especially like right now. So right now, at least half of my morning class are competing. So like over 50%. The other guys are showing up and doing competition practices 5 days a week.
Gritting it out.
And they're not even going to...
What time, Mike?
5:30 in the morning. And they're not even going to compete. They're not doing the fun part, which is the like
your
2 or 3
competitors
matches.
should kiss their feet.
They should... Yeah, you should
kiss their feet.
Guys, you should be buying them coffee and breakfast you guys should be bringing donuts in for these guys. They're the heroes. They're your fucking heroes. The hobbyists that show up every day and fucking grind, especially at 5:30 in the morning.
Big time.
That dude's a fucking hero.
He's a hero.
You know what I mean? And so I was thinking about that. I was like, no, dude, like you competitors are actually just doing the fun part.
It really is a reward.
You guys really aren't special.
It doesn't feel like it, I guess, until maybe like you know, every once a couple times a year, like you're like, yeah, that is pretty fucking cool that I get to do that. So appreciate that, and you're so right, man. Like, excuse me, and you know this about me at least. Like most of my many times in my journey, I've been the only person competing, and like, dude, I should have like a hall of fame of training partners who made me capable of doing that because they were there sacrificing their time and working super fucking hard to help push me. And I know a lot of those guys went on to do some competitions too. So like they've had their opportunity. Which is
and
cool.
Sometimes it gets them to sign up.
A lot of times
they're like, "Fuck it, I'm doing this. I might as well do it."
A lot of times it does. But to your point, like it's like I could give you like a hall of fame of dudes who have helped me, guys and girls who have helped me be able to do that. And without them, I couldn't do it.
Well, and because like, right, the guy who's competing has a reason to do it. The guy who's not competing, their reason is to help you compete. They don't, so like.
At least part of the reason, right?
Yeah, like you're doing the competitor, you're doing the selfish thing. The other person is being very selfless.
It's true. In
that moment by providing you someone to practice with.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, you might have someone you're paired with who's also competing, but that's not always the case, right? Like I said, it's 50-50 in that morning class right now. So lots of heroes.
Big time, man.
So, be nice to them.
Yeah, appreciate them.
Appreciate them. Buy them some Big coffee. John, buy everyone coffee and donuts.
Yeah, buy Mike. While you're at it, buy Mike some coffee and donuts.
When I get back from Vegas, I expect coffee and donuts.
Yeah, a box of donuts.
So, yeah, I think we did it.
I think we did it.
I originally was not going to do a combat confessions, but I had one.
You got one?
Oh, yeah.
All right, bro. Let's hear it.
This will be a quick one because we just basically did a whole episode on them. And this is, once again, we're going to Reddit. So like, how real is this? We will have a verified true story here on the next episode. But the thread is the stupid shit you said to training partners or anyone BJJ related. So this one is a confession, because this guy is telling us, or girl, I don't know, is telling us something. I'm gonna guess it's a guy because they said recently. Well, I don't know. I'm
Speculating
guessing.
here.
Speculation. They say about assumptions. But so the combat confession is stupid shit this person said to a training partner. Recently, a woman repeatedly got me in guillotines when I was shooting a single or double leg on her. At the end of the roll, I told her that my throat was hurting. It was true. It was tight. Forgot what she said, but she was disappointed in her guillotine and, trying to be nice, answered something like, well, if you were as strong as a man, I would have tapped.
That's funny.
And then their second one. Multiple times when I was just starting, like 1 month in, some advanced partners would get me in a choke, but not be able to finish me. So I'd basically coach them during the roll, place their leg / arm, whatever, correctly, and let them choke me. The thing was that they would tell me, no, I don't care. Let's just keep going. But I would force it and they'd fall out.
Don't choke me.
Yeah.
Is that another weird choke fetish thing?
More
like,
choke
no,
fetishes.
I have to be choked, please.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
I'm going to add one more bonus here because it's pretty funny. A friend of mine, upon meeting Fionn Davies at a seminar of hers, half bowed and said 1,000 oses to you.
1,000 oses. Yeah, that's funny.
And that's combat confessions for today, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Fires Drinking Coffee. Like, follow, subscribe, rate, review, all those things. Visit www.fdcpodcast.com. Drop some reviews. You can review on the website. You can also support the show by going to, I think it's just a donate tab, or clicking the little coffee button in the corner. I believe it's bottom left-hand corner, or go to the donate tab if you so wish. If not, really just rate, review. Those things help us a lot. And if you have some combat confessions, go to the contact us page and send us an email. Tell us your confess to us. Tell us the funny things that happened to you in jiu-jitsu, or leave us a voicemail and I will figure out how to play it on the show. So, be careful with your personal information when you do that one, because I will play it. I might be able to edit it. We'll figure it out. Yeah. It hasn't happened yet. I'll have it though. So thank you guys. We love you. Bye.